95% of D2C brands fail within the first few years, not because their product is bad, but because they skip one of these 7 steps. In this video, I'll show you the exact framework that I would use if I had to start a D2C brand from scratch. Hi, I'm Shikhar, founder of LifeX Marketing. For the past 2 years, I have been helping businesses grow, and now I have narrowed down just to one thing: D2C. One thing before we start, there is a step in this complete framework that most of the founders skip because it doesn't feel urgent at the moment. And it is also the exact same reason why most of the founders don't get to year 2. We will get there. So here is mistake number 1 that almost all founders make before they have even launched. Step 1: choose a niche and a product. Before starting a D2C brand, first find a clear category and then launch an MVP, a minimum viable product. That means the most basic version of your product just to test whether people actually want your product or not. We will get to that topic in the next step. So here's how to know if you have picked the right category. First, the category should already exist. Don't invent demand, find it. Second, people in it should already have a clear problem. Third, people should be willing to pay if someone solves that problem. Fourth, you should be able to reach them without much difficulty. And last and most important, a few competitors should already be doing well in it. That is the proof that there are fishes in the pond. The last one troubles most of the founders when they hear it for the first time. And it feels like a bad news that there are competitors already available in the market. But think about it for a second. That is the green signal that actually that market is working for others. And if it can work for others, it can work for you as well. It tells that there are fishes in the pond and you can fish them. In a brand new category, it is actually a green light. Let me show you what it actually costs when founders skip this step. I know a founder who launched a supplement brand, skincare brand, and hair care brand all at once. In one or the other way, he was trying to be everything for everyone. And that is the most dangerous stage to be in as a founder. And 3 months later, none of them actually had enough attention, budget, or stock to be successful. And he shut all of them. Just think it for a second. If you want to start any category, you need to give 100% to it in order to make it work. And if you are starting 3 different categories or you are targeting 2 broad audience, you are dividing that resources into 2 or 3, ultimately decreasing your input to all the categories. And thus it becomes difficult to survive in that condition. When you have limited resources, you can serve only a handful amount of people with just one single sharp solution, not 5 average ones. So now you have picked one category and you have one sharp solution. How do you actually know whether you have picked the right one before you spend any single rupee building it? That's the step 2: validate market. Before you create a complete catalog with a perfect product, launch an MVP, a minimum viable product, a most basic version of your product that has fraction of features that your original product will have. This is where you will learn more about your brand hands-on. So when you have an MVP, you get to talk to customers. They will tell you what's actually working, what's not working, what is the issue with the product, and where you can improve. And you can just recreate the new version using their opinions instead of using your own assumption. And here is the fastest way to do it, and it costs you nothing. Go where your future customers are already online, see what they are searching for in your category, what they are complaining about in reviews, in comments, see what your competitors are doing right, and most importantly, see what they are doing wrong and what most people are calling out them for. And then don't repeat that same mistake. This alone will tell you more than any survey will. There are deeper ways to test demand too, but that's a whole complete different video on it. For now, this is enough to get moving. Now, once you actually know that people want this, the next step is the one that almost every founder loves to procrastinate. And this is the most crucial step because this can shut down your business overnight if you skip it. I say this because if it works for you, you become inevitable. And if it works against you, the empire that you have built with your sweat and blood gets reduced to sand just like that. So there is a real life example. I know a founder personally. Everything was working well with his D2C brand. Real revenue, real growth, profit coming in, customers were happy. And one day he receives a legal notice for the trademark he never registered. And the case went for 6 to 7 weeks, and he had to spend 60% of his revenue just to keep the name he himself built. Most founders I have seen think that legalities can be done once the business is established, but I think that is the one step that is stopping you from getting there. Setting up this properly just takes a few hours, but if you skip it, it takes years to recover the damage that it causes you. I am not a lawyer, so always consult a CA or lawyer. But according to me, there are the three basic documents that a founder should have from the day one. First is the trademark of their name and logo. Second, a current account for your business. And third, a GST registration. I think if you have just these three, you can avoid 90% of the legal notices coming for your brand. So now everything is sorted, your base is clear, your business is legally established in India, GST is sorted. So now let us move on to actually creating the product on a larger scale. And that takes us to the next step, sourcing and manufacturing. So there is a quote I like the most. Brands are not built by saying 100 things at a time. Brands are built by saying one thing 100 times in a row. And that same consistency starts with your product right here. To build something people remember and come back for, you don't just need a good product once. You need the same good quality every single time. If you don't have your own manufacturing unit and you are sourcing it from manufacturers, don't just go with one single manufacturer. Go with a few more options, compare their quality, consistency, and their pricing side by side. See, the goal here is simple. You just need the best product with the same quality consistency at the lowest price possible. And here is the problem that most of the founders face, and I have seen a founder who has faced that same exact problem. Most of the founders only remain in contact with one or two manufacturers, and the exact problem arises when there is a huge demand and your manufacturer is facing problem to cope that demand. And the painful part is you have spent a lot of money on marketing, you have generated that demand, and now that demand is getting unfulfilled. That hurts the reputation as well as the money that you have spent on marketing. And the most important part, that customer is never going to come back again because you have not satisfied that customer. So even you have the best supplier you can find, stay in touch with two or three more suppliers, because in D2C having a plan B isn't a paranoia, it is the survival. Alright, so now you already have a clear category, a clear product, you have validated the demand, your business is legally protected, you have a backup plan for the supply chain. Now let us actually find a place where you can sell, and that takes us to the next step, that is building a store. So in my experience, whenever you are starting out, just go with an online store first. And I say this because it has three advantages. It is cheaper to start, it has low overhead costs, and it can scale in the way offline can never. I have seen many people online saying that going offline is a better option than going online, because in offline customers can actually touch your product and feel it, experience it. That is a true part. But think about it for a second. You have to pay rent, you have to pay for the electricity, you have to pay for the staff, you have to pay for the overhead production cost that comes with opening an offline store, and all that before you have proven the demand. That can be a costly mistake for a B2C brand that is starting from scratch. So what I would recommend, instead of opening an offline store, establish offline touchpoints slowly. Go with local communities, events, pop-up stalls once you have already proven that there is demand online. And here is the part that might sound a lot to most of the founders, but that actually isn't. On the brand side, you just need a logo and a consistent brand packaging colors. On the sales side, you need good product photography and a website that converts. And the fun part is you don't need to obsess over aesthetics until you belong to ethnic category where the visual language actually matters. And on the operation side, you need a trustworthy payment partner that charges less commission and a good logistic that delivers without damaging your product. You have got your store that actually works and sells, but how will you get the customers for it? Before moving on to the next step, I would tell you that this is the step that I mentioned at the beginning of this video that most of the founders skip, and this is why they struggle a lot. And the next step that is most important and most underrated is marketing. This is the most crucial part of any business, not just D2C, but still most of the founders neglect it or ignore it. And I exactly know the reason why they do so, because in the beginning it feels like an expense. Why hire a marketing team? They just do the posting without driving the results. Why I should hire an in-house team when I can create the content on my own? Why I should run the ads when I can create the organic content, because I know the strategy. And do you exactly know what their strategy is? Just posting memes for the sake of getting a few likes and engagement. Let me tell you why this actually happens. Most people have seen visible 10% of marketing, a logo, some colors, some fonts. So naturally they assume that they know what actually marketing looks like. But marketing is a much bigger game than that. It is the purple cow effect, standing out enough that people can't ignore you. It's brand and consumer psychology, understanding why people buy. It's retention and remarketing, bringing people back instead of chasing new customers every single time. It is the anchoring effect, the customer flywheel that keeps a brand growing on its own. This might sound like a lot, but here is the good news. You don't need to master all these skills overnight. And this is exactly why the people who are living completely in marketing usually outperform the founders who are just doing it as a side skill along with everything else. So you have done all of this six right. Most founders think that this is the point where everything ends, but they actually don't know that this is the point where they should work on their business aggressively. And this notion takes us to the next step, data tracking and scaling. There are only a few metrics that as a founder you should focus on. Once orders are coming through your store, watch what people are actually saying about your product and then improve on it. See what products are selling at a larger scale, and the products that are not selling, stop producing it. And exactly for this moment I suggested you to focus on step 4, creating a backup plan for sourcing and manufacturing, because now you are not just guessing what works, you are just seeing it in front of your eyes. There is a quote I always keep coming back to: listen to people and they will give access to their world. The more you understand people, the more they will give you access to their worldview, and that worldview is exactly what you want your brand to relate to. That's the whole game. Listen, adjust, listen again. Here is what it looks like from start to end. Choose a niche and product, validate demand, set up legalities, partner with trustworthy manufacturers, set up a store, market, and a scale. Building a D2C brand isn't about finding a perfect product. It's about making the hundreds of small decisions right. Get enough of them right and your brand will compound. And that is exactly how you stay out of 95% of the people that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Now, if you are building a D2C brand somewhere between 2 lakh to 30 lakh per month revenue and you are struggling with profitability, reach out to us using the link given below. We will fix it in 90 days. And here is our guarantee. If we don't fix that within 90 days, we will work with you for an additional month for completely free. The link is in the description. Fill in the details to book the call. Meet you in the next video. Till then, keep doing.